What's going on, family? What's good? This is your girl, Anna DeShawn, right here on E3 Radio, your number one stop for queer radio done right. And tonight, finally, we are doing Chicago's Finest, episode 2, with Ray and Nick of PartyNoire. What up, Ray? What up, Nick?
What's good, family? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. It's a Sunday, and we still gonna do Chicago's Finest, and it's still gonna be great. And we're gonna be right back after this commercial, okay? I just want y'all to stay close. Here we go. Hey, that's us. That's E3 Radio, queer radio done right. What's exciting about this show, Chicago's Finest, what's really dope is that when I started it, the whole point, right, was to talk about and learn about the life, the work, and the why behind some of our most influential family members, right? And I wanted to have these intimate conversations for a really long time. And we're finally here with episode 2. So throughout this episode, please post your questions so we can address them at the end. Also, please share with your friends and spread the word that we have a podcast. And after tonight, you'll be able to tune into this podcast not only on our website, but also on our SoundCloud account under The Cube, right? The Cube is a curated destination for some of the dopest Black, brown, and queer podcasts on the planet. And with that, today, we are actually welcoming Ray and Nick of PartyNoire. Now, if you don't know PartyNoire, I don't know if you've been under a rock, but that's okay. We're going to lift the rock today. We're going to get to know Ray and Nick. But essentially, their community is inclusive. It's a cultural hub celebrating Black femmes, queer women of color, Black womanhood along the gender spectrum, right? Holds especially for queer, trans, genderqueer, and gender non-conforming Black people. PartyNoire creates experiences, intentional space for uplifting, affirming the lives of Black women, right? When in this intersectional orbit, I just love how they describe their work, intersectional orbit of Black joy, our space, love, uplift, and make space for all Black joy. And so, Ray and Nick, welcome to Chicago's Finest.
Thanks for having us, Anna.
Hey, I think I got it all in.
You sure did. Sure did.
I think I got all the goodness in. I'm so happy y'all are here because one thing is I think that oftentimes we all feed into social media, but then we don't really get to know the people behind it. And so, I think what interviews do on text, what we can do on video is really, really dope. So with that, I always like to start these conversations with the why, because I don't often think people understand the why or why people do what they do, because it ain't easy out here in these streets to be leaders or innovators in your space. So y'all tell me, why in the world in 2015 did y'all embark upon this endeavor, and why do y'all keep doing it?
Right? You took your head off to me. Okay. So 2015, I think that if you are kind of trying to set the stage in terms of the cultural context during that time, sort of leading up to 2015, there was just a lot of Black death. So I'm thinking about the death of Eric Garner, Mike Brown, Sandra Bland happened the year after. And I think that we were really invested in creating a space for Black joy. We wanted it to be sort of living digitally, but also in-person space. And so we started in 2015 with a day party. And for us, like I said, it was really about sort of creating a counter narrative to just all of the Black deaths that we were seeing and finding space for us to rejuvenate. There were a lot of sort of different people who are supporting Black life coming to PartyNoire. And so it served as a hub for creatives, artists, Black women DJs, Black trans DJs, and activists. I think that was one of our largest sort of supporters very early on, were people who were out in the streets wanting to create change around all of the injustice that was happening for Black people. And we wanted to kind of have a continual space to find like rejuvenation and just kind of uplift, as the mission kind of says.
Yeah, it's crazy even now, right? So now we're like living in COVID. The same number of Black people are dying every day, and I feel like for all types of reasons. And now I feel like there's a hindrance to even us gathering in spaces that you all created. Like, how are y'all grappling with that, with COVID and just that?
I think, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Personally, it's been interesting to say the least. COVID was like a slowdown that even within it, I had to remind myself, like, just slow down. It's okay. You don't have to be doing a whole lot of stuff. You owe nobody. Like, that for me is extremely powerful. Um, Particularly remind myself of after being self-employed within events and nightlife for about 6 or 7 years now. So it's been sometimes really cool, really nice to have a slowdown, but then also um, I get to like start missing the community that I've made space with for 5 years straight. And it's just like, oh, but now I can't give you a hug in person in real life. Um, but I do believe that there's like value in this because I think that it's positioning us, I think, to think about our approach to how we make space for community and how we service our community. And then also make space for what it looks like to continue to care for self while making space for your community.
Yeah, I think that part about not owing anybody anything is really important. Because just the other day we had Trina True Love on the show talking about things happening for Black Pride. This regular occurrence of parties every weekend that you're curating, they do become an extension of your family, and you feel like, hey, I'm creating this space, is what I want to do, and I feel obligated to do that for people. But then there's also like COVID, hello, and this idea of like time to create. I need to be safe for myself while also thinking about you, and also knowing I've given enough, right? That I think we can all be really kind with each other right now around when we start doing absolutely anything out here in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The given enough part, I think, is a struggle for some of us, me, to sit with. Like,
Yeah.
We've done a lot in 5 years.
No, we've done a lot in 5 years. We've done a lot in 5 years. And it is like very well okay to feel like I don't have to do nothing.
Yeah, and let's y'all bring up a good point, and I think this leads into my next question. It's been 5 years, but if we go back to that first party, I think it was called Black to the Future. Is that it?
Yeah.
Like, what was the moments like leading up to that party? Like, what do y'all remember about? How do y'all feeling, and what the excitement around that moment?
I will never forget we had the most expansive budget that was just like, but where is this money coming? Who has this money? Our budget was so elaborate and so large. Uh, it was great. That part was great because I was like, wow, sky's the limit here. First party out the gate, boom, let's go. Granted, it didn't materialize that way, but I remember being very excited. Just like when the party actually happened, I didn't know. I was just like, I didn't know all of these beautiful Black people would like be in this space together, like all of y'all at one time.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was very fulfilling to be doing something like that. And yeah.
I mean, that first one is just so special. It's like, I can remember my first show 10 years ago. I was literally sitting on the bed, and I'm pretty certain I was talking to myself. I don't think anybody was listening to me. But you remember where you first started, and I think it's like you all have had this really beautiful crescendo over the last 5 years. Like, could you have imagined then what PartyNoire was going to become?
I mean, I feel like we always have like a weird tension with this question because on the one hand, I don't think we ever could imagine like what the last 5 years have been like. But I think I personally came in with some very big dreams. Like I was hoping that we just like did a great thing that we could sustain and like grow. And that has happened. So I feel like we always experience some tension around this because there's a sense that like we planned for one party, but I was hoping that we could like make something pop and like make it into something that would be like ongoing. And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I think is dope is because I think there's a lot of people out here who want to create their own things and may not know how to start, where to start. But there is this moment of dreaming big that I don't know why people don't own it more. Like, I got a lot of big dreams. And so when it comes to fruition, it's like, yeah, I kind of manifested the whole situation. Right. And so I think that's really important to say because I feel like a lot of people say, like, I worked really hard. And then what happened?
Then what?
I worked really hard. I mean, like, what does that tell me? That tells me absolutely nothing. I think there's some specific actions that folks take to be successful. So what are some of y'all keys like to success? What has made y'all situation work for the last 5 years?
I think as I was thinking about your question just a moment ago about sort of like the moments leading up to, it makes me think a lot about the importance of like canvassing and just like being out in the streets. I remember kind of like building up and to sustain us for probably the first like 2 years, Ray and I would be at every goddamn event that you can imagine in the city of Chicago, handing out flyers and telling people about our party. And so I think that for us, it was not just like going to market, but then also going to show up and support other people who were supporting PartyNoire. And I think to me, that feels like a super like important key in being able to sustain a community in the way that we have, because there is this sort of value of not just being just like for the benefit of the people who are in our like sort of like team, but being sort of a resource and a platform for the entire community that we have been like, I think entrusted to try to cultivate and to like be a steward of.
It's not all on social.
Oh, none of it is on social. Like that is the like the end the end products, like the one snapshot, like none of it is happening on social media.
No, none of it.
I promise to goodness, I think that is so important for people to understand. Like, it does not happen there. I think it says people see it as they think it's really cute. It's a persona of who or what you are and the story that you want to tell about yourself or your brand. But it is so much more about relationships and connecting with people. And so one thing when I was talking with y'all in prep for this conversation, y'all were just saying how the people who come to the parties have really become an extension of your families. Right. And so do you tie that a lot to some of that early work that y'all did in connecting with people and not just, throwing a party?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, go ahead, Ray.
I think that act is definitely how family has how folks have become an extension of family, but also seeing it happen time and time again. Like there are new people that come into the PartyNoire community or family and find themselves being supported by the extended family members. Go ahead. Nick.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I love the kind of like the ways that we can sort of create these like touch points or spaces for um people to just kind of meet and grow their own friendships and their own sort of like kinships and their own family. I love to see like people that I know met at Party Noir, like whether in romantic relationships or just like friendships that have developed from like being in our space together. I think those are some of the stories that I really value when people sort of share with us. Like y'all created this space that I met my business partner at, or y'all created this space that I met my partner at. That to me feels like some of that really intentional work around creating community. And I also think that there's like the simple act of Ray and I like walking the floor of the party and not just being like behind closed doors or behind sort of like a barricade that people can't reach us, but being very intentional to like walk through the parties, make connections with people, be in communication to like keep conversations kind of like ongoing, especially when we see people who are kind of returning and like looking like they might need like family or some folks or some place to plug into. So yeah, those are some of the things that I think about in terms of like what it's been like sort of building and then sustaining sort of community for us.
And I think the community has responded. So when we were talking to you, you're saying how really the community came to y'all. Like y'all were like, this ain't about us. All right. It was like the community said we needed this, and y'all were just sort of like the vessels to make it all happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's also important to note that y'all don't do it alone. Y'all have a team. I'd love to hear about the team and how the team came together and what it looks like today.
Mm-hmm.
I love our team. Our team came together through a series of failed relationships.
sounds very queer indeed. Usually how that happens.
No, our team is incredible.
Some of the most talented young people who are doing the things that they do in their respective fields are somehow in our orbit and like in our family, and we are lucky as shit to have these young people working with us.
So blessed.
And I think what happened is that we, at different points over the last like 3 years, took on interns, and those interns have started in different roles and maybe transitioned into other roles based on their experience and like figuring out what they want to do, sort of outside of Party Noir. How can we like create an experience that kind of, you know, in some ways helps you to grow your own sort of skills or whatever it is that you're doing. And so over the last 3 years, we've taken on 3 interns, and then those interns have just kind of stayed with us. Um, that would be Janaea Green. Janaea is a storyteller, a writer. She's also working with the Reader.
Yeah.
Vel,
What up? Every time we go in there, G, right there.
Vel Brown, who does our admin and helps us just kind of keep up with communication. And then Carly, who's been like the OG of the team. Carly Thornton, she is our sort of artistic director. She does like web graphic. She also builds like a beautiful community called Flow Skate. And so, and then in addition to that, we have just people who kind of lend their support ongoing whenever we kind of need it. And that comes through like ambassadors. DeFrance, my partner, helps us with like logistics and operations and such. And so, is there any people that I'm missing, Ray?
I think there's just like a substantial hub of folks that are extended family team. You know what I mean? So I think like CJ, who is a makeup artist and a mommy of two incredible twins. Um, she's just been like a staple and a pillar for us for a very long time. So she's somebody that I would definitely shout out. Anytime we need a door person, like she got it. You know, like girl, she got it. She cooked something up for the girls. Like I think CJ is somebody that makes us feel very cared for in our family. Um, I don't want to miss nobody, but there are a substantial amount of people that, like Nick said, have just been extremely, extremely important to how the foundation of PartyNoire really functions.
Mm-hmm. And it's those people who we don't get to see all the time. And also, I find like those are people who don't want to be seen. Also, like those are people who are just like, I just want to be here to support y'all to make sure this keeps happening. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are like the real heroes all day long
Mm-hmm.
situations. It's really beautiful. What up, everybody who's tuning in? What's happening? Share what's going on. We are here with Chicago's Finest, episode 2, here with PartyNoire, Nick and Ray in the building. So many people are chatting me in the watch parties. We appreciate y'all. Thank you. And one part that you just said there, Ray, which hits home to some other questions I have, is talk about the foundation of PartyNoire, because you are doing far more than throwing parties. I feel like that is the beginning of your work, but I feel like there's so much more, right? There's a parent company, there's a grant that you all have been doing, I think, for like the last 3 years. Like, talk about some more of this, the expansive work that you all are doing for the community as a whole.
You want to talk about the grant?
Yeah. So I think about 3 years ago, 2017, we just thought about, what are the ways that we wanted to sort of see our work like shift or expand. We were definitely very much thinking about like some of our own experiences being women who occupy this space of like creating or space creating or cultural production, and realizing like we didn't have a ton of like support in the way that we wanted to be supportive to our community. And so we started the Femme Noire grant with the hopes of issuing 2 grants per year for about $500. And they are unrestricted grants. Our folks have used them for like developing, I think there was like a book that someone had done a couple years ago to pay your rent. Like, we have no sort of stipulations on what the money should be used for. We just thought that it was important to like financially support the community who keeps us supported. And so this year we've shifted the grant just a little bit to be responsive to COVID-19 and then the subsequent uprisings. And so we've expanded to raise, I think, about $5,000 this year.
Wow.
And we're going to do micro grants of $200 to $500. Pretty much the same kind of stipulations. We have no restrictions on how you can use the money. We just want to know that it's going to sustaining Black life in some way. Yeah, so I think for us, it's just like thinking about like economics and the fact that like when you're sort of looking at the intersecting identities of the people who attend PartyNoire, who are our folks, Black, queer, can be trans, non-binary folks. These are the people who are most sort of affected by the current pandemic and kind of racial injustice. And so we are thinking always about just continuing to, what are some other ways beyond a party that we can sustain and support Black life?
The parent company was also a way of thinking like beyond the party, how we wanted to grow as folks in nightlife and event industry, and how we wanted to just kind of have a substantial umbrella to further support our community as well as PartyNoire. And so Solar House Studio is that substantial umbrella. And within the context of Solar House Studio, we produce larger scale events. And it's something that we want to continue to do. We want to have the capability to open and function space in the next few years. So, yeah, essentially, the parent company is so that all those things can happen and still be of service to the community that we are so specifically attached to.
I love it. Entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? For ourselves. I think that's one thing we all know for sure. I think our generation gets it in a very real way. You can't wait for anybody to build it for you. You really do have to build it for yourself and create it for yourself and learn how to sustain it for yourself. That's the only way we create our own world. I think that's so important. All right, so I collected some pictures, y'all, and I want to run through it, and then you all just tell me like what feeling or emotion or memory that you get when you see these pictures from over the times. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, let's start with this one.
Yo, anytime people's hands are just like, yeah,
up in the air, like
that's my favorite thing. But then, was this our first time using Sandra Knit?
Yes, it was.
We booked a photographer named Sandra, who goes by Colectivo Multipolar, and I was just really enthralled by how she captures nightlife. I really enjoy it. Her photos themselves look like a party to me, black and white or color. But yeah, this photo is also very exciting because of the time. This is August 2018. Such a special month and year.
You remember the month and year of that photo?
Yes.
It must have been special.
I mean, like, I can do that with a lot of our content, though. One time was like, oh, we need a picture of so-and-so. And I was like, I'm pretty sure
there's something in the folder.
From this month, from this year. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing. And then we go and it's there.
That's beautiful. All right, let's see what you got, right? This is like a test now.
So I'm like, ooh, okay, wait.
This crew right here is like one of my actual favorites. So these are just some of the long-lasting folks who have been coming to PartyNoire for a very long ass time. And they typically occupy like the front of the promontory and like the right, and just be having the time of their life. And I feel like they make people come back to our party. They make people feel so very welcome and hyped on the dance floor that they'll come back to the party for them. Not for me, not for Ray, for them.
For them, yeah.
Love it.
That was, I was looking at it, but I wasn't thinking about the time. But that was definitely 2019. 2019. Allie, I think, took that photo.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been Memorial Day weekend.
Look,
maybe
Memorial Day party.
All right, we got a few more to go. I believe. I don't know if it's right.
No. For a whole year.
Right.
Just little women, as my mother would call us. You two little women. Yeah, it was, it was great times. Great times.
Yeah.
Great times.
I see that one on promo a lot. All right, what about this one?
Tell me, listen. This party was everything. I love this party a lot. This was our Pride party.
last year.
And we had substantial support from Red Bull for this event, and partnered with Bam Studio to do the build out. And it was just an ode to being Black and queer on the South Side.
So I was reading a little bit about the Red Bull collab and Bam Studio. So they like built the floor, right?
Yeah, they brought in this lit dance floor, and then they had this big ball pit in the front for like in the vestibule part of the promontory when you come in upstairs.
You mean like this ball pit?
Yeah, there's ball pit right here.
That ball pit. That's fun. Yeah, that was a fun time.
Do y'all foresee doing more of those sort of larger collaborations? Is that where the parent company comes in?
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, it looks like a great time.
It was fun. It was definitely fun.
All right, here you go.
Yeah.
I see your people again, though. Right?
I know you see my people. So I feel like, I could be wrong, but this feels like the first time we heard Beyonce's Before I Let Go in PartyNoire once we came back from sort of that release of that album. And everybody was doing the electric slide. I feel like that is what's happening right now in this picture.
I think right. Pretty sure.
Everybody's doing the electric slide, G. Not like new slide, like the old school electric slide.
Yes.
Yes.
That is like the most Black thing you could ever do at a party. It feels joyous with that many people.
Absolutely. The entire promontory.
Just electric sliding it out. I love it. I think Janaea loves it too.
Yes.
It looks like a beautiful moment.
I think we got some video footage of that and everything.
Nice. I love it. So with all the great stuff that's happened, all the good, there's always challenges. And how have y'all as a team worked through some of the challenges y'all have had to face, over time? What does that look like?
No.
This is how
we work through some challenges.
Start working through the challenge. We be like,
you want to start? Like, no.
Nah.
Okay, fine. That's step number 1.
Yeah.
Checking capacity. Man, I guess one thing that I think that we have kind of instinctively done is ask for help. We instinctively ask for help with any challenge, for real. And I think that it's been critical in how we've mitigated some of our challenges because I think we've received substantial support from certain organizations and people when asking for help and how to deal with whatever the challenge is. We do our best to receive feedback and be open to feedback from our community when we're faced with a challenge on how to deal with the challenge. And I think we, make sure we center what's important, which is mitigating whatever the issue is or the challenge within our community with a lot of love and care at the forefront of it. I could say more. I feel like it's something that like feedback off of, or like be kind of in dialogue with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much like covered the way that I see challenge happening is like thinking about first and foremost like what are our goals, or sort of what is the purpose of what we're doing, and that always being sort of the thing that ties us back to working through whatever the challenge is working through this challenge, bringing us further toward the mission of affirming lives of Black queer women, women of color, folks of color. And I think having a team that feels very reliable, that we don't just like do the sort of like the work of developing like the copy and sending out emails and stuff, but we are also able to really, I think, as a team, like talk through what we want to see be kind of the approaches that we take to managing challenges. So I think it's like recognizing that like Ray and I are people with capacity, and we cannot manage doing this by ourselves at all. So recognizing our limitations and reaching out to community members and people who are more well equipped to handle certain things versus us.
Yeah. I think that's really important because so many things happen that are out of our control. And, you know, we all can only do the best we can do. And so I think this just speaks to everybody going through anything, is that reaching out to someone that you can talk to, lean on, gather advice from, and trust. Trust is so important. Then we should do that at all costs, at any time that we can when we're faced with challenges. So,
and also just a way to utilize what we have access to in our communities in terms of skill set. If someone is skilled at mitigating conflict or whatever, is an opportunity to allow folks to lend professional advice or professional service. It's almost like, for me, like not calling the police, but who can you call when a person who is, I don't know, maybe mentally ill, having a lash out of some sort. And folks don't know how to deal with it. The first folks that people want to call are the police, and it's like, no, there are other professional entities and organizations that know how to mitigate something differently or in a different kind of way that doesn't necessarily speak to my skill set or Nick's skill set. And so I think being able to reach back into our community again to help resolve conflict or what have you has been also really incredible.
yeah. Appreciate y'all. All right. So now we come to the time in the show where we do this thing called the Finest 15. It's like all these Chicago things, and you got like 2 seconds to choose what your thing is. Now, both of you have to answer each of these things. It's not a collective situation because these are very specific things and they're fun. So while we do this, family, if you've got questions for Nick and Ray, let us know. Type them in the comments. We'd love to answer any questions that y'all have. This has been a dope conversation. But here we go. The Finest 15. Okay. Sears Tower or Willis Tower?
Sears Tower.
Sears Tower.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Malnati's or Giordano's?
I'm a West Side baby. You're not Giordano's good. Can I share a secret, or you want to share it, Nick?
Go ahead, share the secret.
No, Nick, it's not a secret. Nick don't like pizza in Chicago.
I was gonna say neither.
She don't like pizza in Chicago. There's one place somewhere on the far north side that she might go to get a piece of pizza. But other than that, Nick don't eat pizza in Chicago.
Is this because it's like a New York thing?
Yes.
You already know what kind of thing it is.
Yeah, it's a New York thing. I've been there. You hold it. It's thin. It's big.
I'm used to a different kind of pizza. Y'all eat lasagna on I ain't gonna start talking shit because I don't want to get beat up. But listen, I I can't do it.
Why gotta be lasagna? Okay. Oh man. All right, now Cubs or White Sox?
The White Sox?
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Dominic's or Jules?
Jules.
I guess I'm gonna have to say Jewel too. I don't even know what Dominic's is.
I know what Dominic is. Dominic is the older version of Jules. Again, it's like Jules or Jules Oscar, you know?
Exactly. All right, Harold's or Uncle Raymond's?
Uncle Raymond.
That's because you're from the West. Harold's all day. All right, here we go. Forest City or the Plaza?
See, I don't know what these two places are. Y'all don't have to fool me.
I think I was more of a Forest City girl at the time.
Okay. So,
you know, the youngins, the little hood rats, and youngins don't hang out there. I was doing that at the time.
Literally, at the end of the day, all the Plaza ended up having was like gym shoes. Like I go there for some shoes, but
that's it.
There was really at that time. There's nothing else going on at the Plaza. All right, Common or Kanye?
I think I'm just gonna have to say Common because the other guy's tweaking.
I think I lean more towards Common for a couple of different reasons.
Okay. All right. I meant to change this, but we're gonna leave it in here for this section. Twista or the Brat?
Oh.
I had to change it last time. But that's what it is. Twista or the Brat?
Twista.
I was gonna say the Brat just because she's cute.
Right, I was gonna say that too, but I really like listening to rap music, and Twista has always been one of my favorite rappers.
Yeah.
Like always.
Yeah. He the business.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the Brat coming out.
Finally.
Coming out. I mean, you've been out, but like really out. Like, appreciate you.
Instagram and stuff. Got a babe on the Instagram.
You know, buying vehicles and stuff. That's what happened. That'll make you come out. You know what I'm saying? I to buy you a car.
People about me now.
You're right. I ain't no secret. Midway or hair?
Midway.
All day. Footwork or percolator?
Percolator.
Oh,
I like footwork, but I was always
percolator. All right, let's see. What else we got? Oh, taco or burrito?
Taco.
Yeah. Lakeshore Drive or the Dan Ryan?
Lakeshore Drive.
Lakeshore.
GCI or Power 92?
Power 92.
Ooh. Power 92.
I mean, I get it, but I say Power 92 because I feel like they show a little bit more love to the hometown. So that's why I always been the biggest.
Yeah. My wife from the West Side, she listens to Power 92 too. Always listen.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's about right. All right. We got, this is an old school list. It's Stargaze or the pub.
Ooh. Now, I think for me, the pub, probably for Nick, the pub too, because I think Stargaze was not a thing for us.
Yeah.
But the pub, that's
the I've been since we had a little shindig there a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yep. People going up to the pub this weekend. I'm like, how the hell you social distancing in the pub? I don't believe you. I do not believe you. Okay. Bronzeville or Hyde Park?
Bronzeville.
Brown.
Now.
Yeah. Brownsville.
Bronzeville. All right. That was fun.
That was fun.
That was fun. Family, it's question time. Y'all got questions for Ray and Nick? Put them in the chat. I got watch party going. I'm watching that too. If you got questions, let me know. Let's see what we got. First up, Aisha. What up? Says, if you could curate a permanent party or community space, what 3 things must it have? Wow.
It must be fully ADA accessible. I'd like for it to have a skylight and a rooftop of some sort. Maybe like a rooftop.
I think there has to be one space dedicated to, or maybe many, but a space that doesn't change and is dedicated to like healing, that would have like lots of plants, crystal, just like all the accessible healing tools that you need to just kind of tap into wellness and that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So a wellness room, a legally smoking room, legally available smoking room. You said 3?
Yeah, he says 3.
88, full 88 access.
We don't need people or music or nothing.
Yeah, but if I only get
That's a given. That's a given.
Oh, that's just given.
if I only get 3 and it must have, you know, everything else don't come.
Everything else goes. I love it. I do like the wellness room. That's real. Smoking room is always needed too. Well, this has been fun. I got no more questions in the queue, but I think I asked a lot. This has been a good time, y'all.
Thank you, Anna.
We appreciate you.
Man, thank y'all so much for joining me on Chicago's Finest. This is episode 2. This has been a wonderful time. It will be a podcast. It's going to be on our SoundCloud account on E3 Radio. So hopefully if y'all don't catch it here, y'all can catch it there. Catch it anywhere you want to be. That's the beautiful part. And we'll be back in a couple months with episode 3 of Chicago's Finest, where we'll continue to interview people in the community that are making some amazing impacts on the community, right? That's what this is about. So thank y'all again.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you. Here we go.
Latest.
See ya.